And wouldn't you say that as an entrepreneur, one of the most important things in the world is to learn that no, just let it roll off your back and to move forward, because you're going to get so many no's.
I think it's more powerful than the most important thing. I think it's oxygen. I don't think you can be an entrepreneur unless you are incredibly comfortable, have the stomach for a barrage of constant no. I think one of the reasons we've seen this great era of fake entrepreneurship, and that's what I call it. I think entrepreneurship got so popular, and I've benefited greatly from that. But my concern, and the reason I talk about this a lot, is if you were, got so cool, like an athlete or a rapper, that people force themselves to starting companies. And I worry about that.
And they don't have the stomach for it. And 1, 2, 3 no's affects them personally. They're never going to make it.
And affects them in real ways.
Yeah.
Like, all of a sudden you've put yourself out there. You've worked in a school system that was very protective by nature. That now you're on the record. You're 24, you just graduated from Penn, and you're starting this company. Everyone's watching. And you kind of know it's not going to work out. So what do you think most people do in that scenario if you're not comfortable with losing? They start going into excuses. They start going into vices that make them escape their truths. Too much of this is bad. And I worry about that. And so I feel a sense of responsibility. It's a hard line for me because I'm so the other. And so I don't want people to think I'm saying I can do it, you can't. Right. I would love for self-awareness to become a much bigger conversation in society. I think it's incredible to be the number 3. Do you know how great it was to be Phil Knight's number 3? You made a lot more money than most people's number 1. And I think there's an incredible amount of people that I've come across over the last decade that were meant to be great number 3s and 4s who've really put themselves into an unhappy framework trying to be an entrepreneur. So I talk a lot about that story and many other stories. Thank you for picking that up, because I want parents that are watching this to allow kids to lose. Like my son had a baseball game the other day, playoff game. They lost. He went 3 for 4 with 2 triples. Amazing. Very proud. But one of the kids on his team was crying, and we're very close, kind of knit, community on this team. And I came over and I whispered to the kid, I'm like, keep crying. It's good to care. Yeah. Cry. Right. And his parents, and then the parents were like, yeah, Gary. So, it was really a fun moment. And I think it matters. I think competition is good. Yes. I think losing is good. I think crying after a baseball game is good. And I think we've created it to be bad. And I think it's worth the debate. And I think in society, we're blaming a lot of anxiety and unhappiness on social media. Yes. Social media is the proxy. What's underneath that is people's inability to have judgment from others. When you're comfortable with losing, you're comfortable with judgment.